I'm going to tell you about 6 ways you can use AI to improve your thinking rather than exclude you from the process of thinking. Before opening an AI tool, ask yourself, am I just trying to produce something, or am I trying to become better at producing something independently? You need to establish your goal before you start using AI. For the sake of this video, let's just distinguish between productivity mode and practice mode. In productivity mode, you're basically asking the question, what can AI take off my plate? If you need to format a table or just polish a routine message, then an output is probably your priority. But if you're trying to learn something, then the process matters every bit as much as the output. In practice mode, you need to ask yourself, what parts of this task do I need to remain involved with if I want to improve? The goal is to target your mental effort towards the things you want to get better at doing independently. When generating or retrieving an answer is part of what you want to learn, produce something before asking AI. What you produce doesn't need to be great. You can write a rough answer, then generate a prompt along the lines of, this is my first attempt, what's weak, missing, or unclear? This preserves an opportunity to generate and retrieve information for yourself before seeing a completed answer. Research on the generation effect indicates that people often remember information better when they produce it themselves than when they just read material supplied to them. This also connects to the concept of cognitive offloading, using tools or physical actions to reduce the mental demands associated with a particular task. AI can reduce cognitive demands, improve performance, and free up mental resources. But the value of offloading depends on whether the delegated task is something you might benefit from practicing. And that's the choice you face when using AI. If you ask for an answer immediately, you skip the opportunities to retrieve what you know, expose gaps in your understanding, and construct an independent starting point. Sometimes that might be absolutely fine. But if you're trying to learn something or develop a skill, remember, first, attempt it yourself, then ask for AI assistance. Use AI to make you participate. The danger of just using AI to present information is that it can give you a misleading impression of how much you know and understand. Everything makes sense when the answer is visible, but then you close the browser and realize that you've also clicked the little red X on your knowledge and understanding. So focus on getting AI to generate an interaction between you and it that will help you learn more effectively. Retrieving information generally supports retention of that information much more effectively than simply rereading it. Explaining and applying information are also approaches to learning that have received significant support in the research literature. Try prompts like, ask me one question at a time, give me a similar problem, test whether I can explain this clearly. These prompts help create an interaction between you and AI that's much more conducive to learning. Generate alternatives, then test them. Once you have an initial response, avoid using AI just to make it sound better. Don't fall into the trap of mistaking polish for proof. Research and automation bias shows that people sometimes accept incorrect automated advice or fail to spot problems that a system has missed, but deliberately considering alternatives can reduce some biased judgments. So, use AI to widen the possibilities and then use the evidence to narrow them back down again. Try this sequence. First, state your current view. Second, generate a credible alternative. Third, identify evidence for that alternative. Fourth, check that evidence independently. The purpose isn't simply to believe the opposite of whatever AI tells you. It's to prevent the first plausible answer that AI gives you becoming the only answer that you seriously examine. When an AI-generated claim matters, leave the conversation and check it elsewhere. AI assurance about its own output isn't independent verification. Isolate the important claim, check the original research, and look for genuinely independent reporting. Match the amount of checking that you do to the stakes at play. And don't simply count number of sources. 2 different websites may simply be repeating the same unsupported claim. Remember that AI can generate evidence that's irrelevant, misunderstood, or far less conclusive than its summary suggests. Verify the connection between the evidence and the conclusion, not simply the existence of the evidence. A useful strategy is called lateral reading. Instead of remaining inside one source and inspecting it more intensely, move sideways and investigate what other independent sources have to say. Use AI to assist in your search, but don't use it as the definitive final source. Make evidence, uncertainty and responsibility explicit. AI can organise options, summarise arguments and identify missing information, but it doesn't necessarily know the full context. It may not know what values are most important or what trade-offs are acceptable. And most importantly, it doesn't bear the consequences of any decision that's based on its output. Remember that evaluation becomes harder when you lack the knowledge to recognise mistakes. In that situation, the answer might not be to give AI a better prompt, but rather to gather more primary evidence or seek appropriately qualified human expertise. The end goal is calibrated trust in AI, not automatic acceptance or rejection of its outputs. The aim of this video isn't to get you to think without AI, it's to get you to think better using it. You should use AI to remove unnecessary effort, but don't automatically delegate the parts of a task through which learning, skill acquisition, and responsible judgment are developed. Be good to yourselves and each other, and I'll see you in the next video.